YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels back with some more division by division draft grades. We're going through every single NFL division, and we're coming away with one winner. Then we're going to put those teams together and see who won the entire NFL draft of 2018. So we're breaking down the AFC North today. Let's start with the Browns. Browns got a pretty good haul here. I mean, a lot of players, but did they get good value? We're here to figure it out. Best pick, my favorite pick is Jannard Avery. I really like Avery a lot because he can play multiple positions at the linebacker spot, inside, outside. He can rush the passer. Kind of a freak dude too. Good speed, very very strong. So they get good value with him in round five. Love the pick. Uh, I heard he dropped because some kind of injury concern, but I believe he's good to go. We'll see how that plays out here in the near future, but I like him a lot. Worst pick is going to be Simeon Thomas, defensive back, Louisiana Lafayette. Thought he was an undrafted guy, possibly seventh round. They get him around six, so not that big of a deal. You get him with your last pick. They see some upside there, obviously. Sleeper pick is Damian Ratley. Now, right before the draft started, this was kind of a big riser for me. He's a big time sleeper too in the entire draft. I think pretty solid production there, and good speed, excellent route running. You know, the hardest thing to find is really good route running, and I mean he had it. So I thought he could have went higher. So that's a sleeper guy to look out for. Could have been Antonio Callaway because if he's good to go, if not in trouble, he's a better talent than fourth round, so he can make a bigger impact than a guy like Ratley. But it does come at some risk, obviously. Let's break down all these picks. Baker Mayfield, a little surprised he went one, even though he's my number one quarterback. So I guess it was the right choice. I don't know if a quarterback was worthy of the number one pick this year, but I mean you had to do it. Denzel Ward at four, very surprising. Although I do like Ward, I think four is a little early in the pass on Chubb. Obviously, he's kind of interesting to say the least. The first pick in round two, Austin Corbett. I do like Corbett, but the first pick in round two, that's obviously that's one pick away from a first rounder for Corbett. Maybe a little early, but I do like him. Nick Chubb, I think, can be a solid running back. He's going to get good opportunity there in Cleveland. But again, I thought it was a little early. Maybe I wasn't as high on Chubb as everybody else. Thought there was some better running backs, but I think he can be good. I just, as terms of value for myself, my rankings, a little early. Chad Thomas, solid pick. Thought he'd be third or fourth round. Callaway, obviously a first to second round talent, but very risky. I was surprised he went fourth round. Thought he wouldn't get drafted after the recent incident of failing his physical at the combine, but still good talent, so I can't knock that pick. We talked about Avery, we talked about Ratley, and then Simeon Thomas we talked about as well. So, I mean, they got a lot of solid players that can contribute right away. A few reaches, but some big time players, again, that I think can make an instant impact. I gave the Browns a B. Didn't really wow in any way, so I couldn't get them in that A range. I do like a few of these picks, but again, I think a few were a little early. So I gave him a B. Overall, pretty solid haul. Let's go on to the Baltimore Ravens. Tricky one here for some of these categories. The first one, not really. Best pick is Lamar Jackson for me. Pretty obvious there. One of my favorite players in the draft. I think a team needs to build around him. I think they will do that, just not yet. So I love the pick. I like that he was made a first rounder. They traded back in and got him. Just a guy of the future. With the way the NFL is heading, the way these offenses are changing, I think he's the future. I really do. Let's hopefully with his play style he stays healthy. He's got a few years to develop. It's going to be hard to game plan on this guy. That's the main reason I like him. This is the tough decision when I was talking about. Worst pick, I went with Hayden Hurst. I think Hayden Hurst can play right now. Right now, he's the best tight end in the class. I didn't think any tight end was worthy of a first-round pick. Again, impact, can make an instant impact. But I have a problem with him being 25. It's just in the past we've seen guys that are just up there in age. They never work out. The chances of them working out, and we haven't really seen a tight end, I guess, but the chance of working out is not good. Maybe tight end's a different position for that, but how long is he be around? Does he have room for improvement? I don't know if he does. He's pretty solid right now. Can help the team. I'm just not a big fan of the pick. It's not like an F grade for that pick, but if I had to pick a worst pick here, it'd be that one. Sleeper pick is Deshaun Elliott, the safety from Texas, top of the nation in interceptions. I thought he'd be a third, maybe fourth round guy at the latest. They get him in the sixth, so will he play right away? Maybe not, but I think he can in the near future and can make an impact. I think he's an overall good player. I mean, gets his hands on the ball, playmaker abilities there. and he flies around to the ball from sideline to sideline, reading plays, coming up, making a tackle. So I don't know what there isn't to like about Elliott. I'm not sure why he dropped down to round 6. Let's break down the rest of these picks here. Talked about the 2 first rounders already. Orlando Brown in the 3rd round, I think, was a solid pick. Once was known as a first rounder. I figured he would go round 2 or 3. They get him in round 3. Mark Andrews in round 3, so they get another tight end. Hurst is going to be mainly used as a blocker. Obviously, they'll throw in the ball. Mark Andrews is more of a pass-catching tight end, maybe playing the slot. Pretty solid in round 3. Anthony Averett, round 4. I thought this was his range. Some people thought round 3, so getting him round 4 was pretty solid. Kenny Young, the inside linebacker from UCLA. Maybe a round too early, but I do like him. I like him inside or outside. Could play either one. Jaleel Scott. I thought this was early. I thought he was like a 7th round guy. Obviously, a big body receiver, can catch the ball. Maybe a red zone receiver. I don't know if he's ready yet. But they didn't have a big guy like this on their roster that was legit. So, in terms of receivers. So, I mean, I understand it. But, again, I thought it was early. Jordan Lassie, I thought was the better receiver they got. I thought he would go round 5. That's where they got him. Speed and route running's there. Just drops is what puts him down. If it wasn't for the drops, he'd probably be a 2nd or 3rd rounder. We talked about Deshaun Elliott in the 6th round. 6th round also Greg Senat, the offensive tackle from Wagner. Small school guy that was getting a lot of buzz leading up to the draft. 6th round, I'm okay with that. And Bradley Bozeman, the center from Alabama. They had to get an Alabama guy in here. Makes sense. Well, they got Averett too, actually, so they got 2 of them. But Bozeman, 6th round, makes sense to me. And Zach Sealer, defensive end from Ferris State, another big-time sleeper leading up to the draft, was getting a lot of buzz. So 7th round makes sense to me. So they didn't have tremendous value anywhere. Got guys they got good players right where I thought where they would go. A couple of reaches. I do love the Lamar Jackson pick. Elliott pick was great too. What I ended up giving the Ravens was a B as well. Just kind of hit or miss. Well, you can't say hit or miss because we didn't see him play yet. But in terms of my board, great pick. And then there was somewhere it's a little early, so I couldn't really give him a too much better of a grade than a B. It's B plus range for them is really where I was debating between. But let's go on to Cincinnati Bengals. Best pick was Jesse Bates. Could have been Jesse Bates or Malik Jefferson here. Both tremendous value at the end of the day here. Jesse Bates was one of my favorite players, and a 1st round grade on him, so I love him starting right away. Instant playmaker and can return punts as well at a high level. Worst pick, none. I didn't see any here that I could have categorized as the worst pick for them. So looking pretty good. Sleeper pick, could have went with a few guys here, but I went with Auden Tate. 7th round pick. His talents show probably 5th round, 4th round, but he ran obviously a slow time. That drops him down. But he's a big body receiver that is very good in the red zone. I think he can run routes. I think he can catch the ball over anybody on the sideline. I think he's another version of A.J. Green, just less athletic, really what it is. A little bigger, too. So I like Auden Tate's upside there in the 7th round. Definitely no risk there, and it could be a high reward. So solid pick. Let's break down all these picks here. Billy Price in the 1st. Didn't love the pick because of his recent injury. Supposed to be good to go. Obviously, he's good, but it scares me a little bit. I know some teams probably scratch him off their 1st round board for that reason, and some teams were okay with it. Don't hate the pick. Don't love the pick. 2nd round, Jesse Bates. We already talked about him. Love the pick. 3rd round, Sam Hubbard, defensive end, Ohio State. Love the pick. Some people thought late 1st. I thought 2nd round. They get him in the 3rd. Round 3, again, Malik Jefferson. I thought late 1st, early. I didn't think he was going to go late 1st, but my grade would show late 1st, but most likely early 2nd. They get him round 3. Love the pick. Mark Walton in the 4th. Solid running back. Can catch the ball to the backfield very well. Tough kid. Solid pick in round 4. Devontae Harris was a sleeper from Illinois State. Fifth round's where I thought he would go. He's got a lot of upside. Andrew Brown in the 5th round from Virginia. Can play end, can play defensive tackle. Pretty solid value in the 5th there. Darius Phillips, the corner from Western Michigan. I thought was more of a 5th, 6th. They get him in the 5th, so it's okay. Playmaker corner, maybe a little undersized, but I think the measurables are overrated. So I think if he's a solid football player, which he is, then he should be good to go. So solid pick. Then 3 round 7s, Logan Woodside from Toledo. I thought he would go round 7. Rod Taylor, guard from Ole Miss. Maybe thought it was an undrafted guy. Round 7's okay, though, down here this late. And then Auden Tate was a good value for the Bengals here. So overall, solid draft for the Bengals. I gave them an A. I thought they did a great job. I thought Got a lot of sleeper guys, got a lot of good value in the mid round. So good job to the Bengals. They get an A. Now we're on to the Steelers. Do they beat the Bengals? In my opinion, let's see. Best pick gonna be Mason Rudolph, quarterback that I thought would go late first, maybe early second was more like it. They get him in the third. I think he makes sense for their offense to continue to keep it the same way for the future. You know they have Dobbs that may be part of the future over there too, but maybe a little bit of a different style than what they currently run. So Rudolph makes sense. He's got a good upside. Gets lured behind Big Ben. I like the pick a lot. Worst pick, Terrell Edmonds, the safety from Virginia Tech, which is a first rounder. It's not really good to see your first rounder on the worst pick. Wasn't a terrible pick, though. It was just early in terms of value. I know some people thought third round. I thought he would end up going late second. But he's a good player. It's just a little early. Are they going to use him at safety? Are they going to use him in the box? Are they going to pull a wild card, bring him up to linebacker? We will see. I think most likely they watch this tape at safety. They fell in love with the guy at safety. They drafted him in the first round at safety, so most likely he's going to play safety. Said safety a lot of times there. But that's most likely what they're going to do. Sleeper pick is Jalen Samuels. I thought he'd go earlier, and just because how much of a weapon he is. Plays running back, plays tight end, can play in the slot. You see a lot of those slot tight ends being used a lot in the league today, and they're definitely weapons, and he's a for sure weapon, I think. So good pick there. Look out for him to make an impact early on in his career. Pick by pick breakdowns. We'll talk about Edmonds. We already did. Round 2, James Washington. I like James Washington. I just wanted to make sure he went to the right team, and he did. Goes to the Steelers. I think that fits his game right off the bat, right away. And the Steelers end up making all these receivers good. So he's going to be a good one. That's was definitely a candidate for best pick with Mason Rudolph, which are teammates. So you get two teammates together. They had maybe the best connection in college football between a quarterback and a receiver. So that you gotta love that if you're a Steelers fan. Gotta love it. Third round, Okafor, offensive tackle, Western Michigan. He's got the freak size, needs some developing. So obviously, I don't think they need a tackle to start right away. So I thought third, fourth round, they get him in the third. So solid pick there. Round 5, Marcus Allen. That's where I thought he would go. Solid pickup, but similar to Edmonds, more of a box guy. Do they bring him up as a linebacker? I think Allen is more likely to do that than Edmonds, but we will see. They didn't need a linebacker. Obviously, they did not come away with a true linebacker, but overall, Marcus Allen is a ball player, so it's a good pick. We talked about Jalen Samuels. I like the pick there. Then Joshua Frazier, D-tackle, Alabama, round 7. He was part of a rotation in that excellent talented Alabama defensive line, so pretty good upside if he gets the chance to play. You don't really, some of these Alabama guys, high risk and reward guys, because you don't really know what you're going to get like him, rotating with a bunch of good talent. So there's some reward in there. So overall, it was worth it. They're a good team. They're able to make a move like this, even though I think they did need some help on defense. But he's a defensive player with upside. So what do I give the Steelers here? I did like a lot of their picks, but again, some of them were reaches. I gave him a B+, because some of these picks I really did like. Talking about James Washington, Mason Rudolph, Jalen Samuels, Marcus Allen, pretty good. Edmonds, I do like Edmonds, but it's just in terms of value on my board, it was a little early. They obviously have a plan in place for him, so I can't wait to see what it is. Okafor has a ton of upside. I think they're a team that could have done that with their offense line. They need a guy to start right away so they can take a chance on the guy that you need to develop. I think they're good at developing offensive line guys, so it makes sense to me. Good pick there. B+. So that means the Cincinnati Bengals win the AFC North. They will move on to a future video where I break down the winning teams from each division. They did an excellent job here. Pretty good haul, which they needed. Again, Jesse Bates, one of my favorite picks in the draft. Malik Jefferson, loved the pick. Sam Hubbard was actually a pick. So the Bengals did a good job. Pretty obvious that I think that. They did a good job here. So they win the division. We're going to keep going division by division until we get the 8 teams. We're going to put them together, find out who my biggest winner, single team biggest winner of the draft was. So can't wait to get through all these. Thanks for everyone's support. Our goal is, when the season starts, we want 10K subscribers. And it's still got a little bit to go for that. But we've been growing a lot since last year. And it's all thanks to you guys. I'm able to keep on doing this because of that growth. But we want to keep it going so we can keep bringing you better content. We want to keep it coming, get better and better. So thanks to everyone for their support. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to reach that 10K, but that'll do it. Goodbye.